CollectAWrestlePalooza. CollectAWrestlePalooza.
What's up, fellow sports enthusiasts? This is Tom from CollectAWrestlePalooza. I want to talk to you today about the new IRS standards for reporting your income if you sell on any electronic platform. This applies to eBay, it applies to Etsy, it applies to whatnot, anywhere you're selling your goods, that they are keeping track of what your sales are. The IRS has made it so that those companies now will report your sales directly to the IRS if they're more than $600. In years past, it was $20,000, and in 2022, which is the year that we're selling in right now, it's $600. And there are particular ramifications of this, both for the hobby, also for pricing in general. I'm going to talk about that a little bit, or at least my impression of what that could do to pricing in the hobby. But first, let's talk about what's happening. So, if you've sold over $600 on your platform this year, you may have noticed that eBay is going to ask you either for your business credentials or your social security number, and you have to input it in order to sell more on the platform. And once you do that, what that provides to eBay is a direct link to the IRS, and they're going to tell you exactly how much you sold on their platform. And it's your burden on your taxes to file your 1099-K for that income, or they're going to perhaps audit you, perhaps come after you for those uncollected taxes. Now, everyone knows that income is taxed in the United States at whatever level, 10-15%, depending on how much you make that year. But if you don't go in and prove that you have expenses against that income, then the IRS is going to expect you to pay 10-15% on that income. So if you made $1,000, and when I say made, I mean sold $1,000 worth of wrestling cards on eBay, and you're in a 10% tax bracket, then they're going to expect you to pay $100 at the end of the year on that income. And it's being reported whether you like it or not. I'm not here to say whether I agree with this or not. To be honest, I have mixed feelings about it, but part of me says, well, if you are making income, you should pay your taxes on that income. And part of me also says that it is going to be another barrier of entry to people wanting to run small businesses. So I have mixed feelings about it, but this video is not about that. What this video is suggesting is what are the potential ramifications of this on the hobby. Now, I think that a lot of sellers have been flying under the radar, making less than $20,000 in sales, and are not reporting that income. So I think that there's probably a pretty large section of the entire seller base that this year is going to be different for them. They're going to get a shock because they sold over $600, somewhere between $600 and $20,000, and all of a sudden they're not going to know how to file their taxes because they haven't been filing their taxes. So whether they file through an e-file or with an accountant or whatever they do, all of a sudden they're going to have to put this income on their 1099-K because the 1099-K is going to be provided to the IRS by eBay. So what this means is it could potentially push prices up, and it might help to combat some of the softening that we've seen in prices over this year. And the reason for that is, if you think about it, once sellers become aware that there's an extra fee, which is income tax, in the selling of their product, they're going to have to push prices up to pay that additional fee so that they still come out ahead. And now, let me be clear, this only applies to income that you make that is not part of the cost, but it's your burden to provide the cost to the IRS. So all the IRS knows is that you sold $1,000 worth of cards. If you paid $950 for those cards, your taxable income is only $50. So it's going to be a very small fee, but you're going to have to prove that to the IRS. And then also what that means is a lot of folks aren't going to know that the small amount of taxable income is all that is going to be taxed. And in a declining market, that income may be quite small. However, if the market starts to go up, if margins start to increase, and therefore taxable income starts to increase, we're going to see even more upward pressure on prices, because as folks want to stay on these platforms, they're going to have to charge more for the cards. Now, the other thing that could happen is you start to see sellers start to Just get out of it. People getting out of the hobby, maybe, or maybe just getting out of the selling aspect of the hobby. What does that mean? I don't know. The future will tell. It could be good for people that stay on the platforms because their competition is going to go down. But my impression is that it could be a difficult time because the more people that are buying and selling, the more the hobby perpetuates and the more advertising that we have for the hobby. So we're in interesting times. My advice is to stick it out. Sports cards have been around forever. There's just going to be different pricing levels, and you have to keep your inventory low, absorb these times, keep it a hobby, keep it a healthy part of your life as opposed to something you need to make money, and stay with it. And then as you have this extra experience, you're going to be better positioned when the market starts to take off again. So I hope this is helpful to you. If you have any thoughts about this whole subject, please post a comment. I don't ask for likes and subscribes anymore. That's just implied. I'd love your likes and subscriptions, but I'm not going to take time out of my video to market that part of my content or ask for that. But I do ask that you provide comments. I love hearing what you guys are thinking about. I love seeing who's watching the videos, seeing what their thoughts are. It helps me to provide relevant content in the future as to what works for you or what provides value to you in your collecting hobby. Thanks for watching, and have a great week.
CollectAWrestlePalooza, CollectAWrestlePalooza.